Welcome to the Laurent Collective podcast, where we go deeper than just surface talk.
Each week, we'll explore everything from family, business, creativity, culture, and faith.
To make sure not to miss an episode, be sure to subscribe and hop on to Instagram at Laurent Collective to chat with us about this episode.
So today we have some very special guests, and they are three people that we adore and love. And we thought it would be fun as we talk about them a lot and reference them a lot in our other episodes, and I'm sure we will in upcoming episodes, that you guys would get to know these three creative individuals. So here you go. We have a surprise for you
We
today.
have very special guests today.
We have three special guests. We've had questions from you guys on Instagram and other places about our kids and wanting to know a bit more just about how our family is. And so we have brought in three special guests, and we're going to see how this goes.
Yep, we're gonna.
There's a very anxious one right now that is really eager to say something.
Yep.
Would you like to introduce yourself? What is your name?
Veda,
How old are you, Veda?
6.
Oh, but you're
Oh.
old.
But you're almost 7, aren't you?
Yeah.
How your birthday's coming up?
Yes, that's exciting, isn't it?
Awesome.
So Veda was really wanting us to ask her some questions about what she likes to do. And so one of the questions, Veda, that people ask us is how our kids like to be creative. What ways do you like to be creative?
I like drawing and like playing and being creative in my mind.
Yeah.
What do you
that's
play
cool.
when you play imaginary things?
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to imagine that you do?
It's I really like imagining like stuff playing and like playing with my teddies and toys.
You're very good
Ooh,
at
that's
that. You come
awesome.
up with some really cool things, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Veda, a lot of people, do you remember how old you were when we moved to London?
2.
You were 2.
Oh, wow.
So you don't remember living in the United States very much, do you?
No.
Not really.
No.
What do you like about living in London?
Just getting to go to like places that we've never been before.
So Veda, what is your favorite museum in London?
Probably the dinosaur museum, because they had that place where you can get this like teddies.
you
gift
like it
shop.
because it was the gift shop. Awesome.
Yeah. And I remember I got the fox and I named it Ivy.
Yeah.
You did
You
get
did get a
fox.
fox.
So when Veda is talking about the dinosaur museum, our kids refer to the Natural History Museum as the dinosaur museum because it has lots of dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Veda, one of the things that we do in London is we try different foods sometimes, don't we? What is one of your favorite foods that you have had that we eat sometimes? You can pick any. Oh, I mean, I know what you're going to say probably.
McDonald's.
Oh, no!
McDonald's? What?
I can't believe that was your answer.
I can't believe you said that.
So just to give you guys some context, I've been, this is not to like trash
It's
McDonald's,
because
but
you guys have been giving us some McDonald's.
we did treat them to McDonald's once over the lockdown, but we don't eat McDonald's in our house. It's usually that if they go on a date with mommy and daddy, they seem to always pick McDonald's. Zane does use a lot of his commissions money to eat a lot of McDonald's, doesn't he? But yes,
Veda,
so
I thought you
cannot
would
believe that
say-
you said McDonald's over a certain place that we go.
I also like pizza though.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
Or what's the other P word that you really like?
Pasta.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Pasta.
So there is a place in Borough Market that makes homemade fresh pasta, and it's covered in delicious olive oil and delicious cheese, and you could eat a ton of that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
That is what I thought you were going to say. McDonald's.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So that is hilarious that is what
Yeah.
she said. What is a snack that is kind of I don't know if you know that it's more of a traditional English snack that you like to have after school?
Oh yeah, what do you like to
certain
eat?
kind of sandwich that you have. What is it?
Cucumber sandwich.
Yes, Veda loves a cucumber sandwich with some brown bread, some cream cheese, and a cucumber slices. Oh, you like
You like it when we cut it in triangles?
We haven't
Yeah.
been cutting
I
the
like the white bread when it's triangles.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're such horrible parents that we
We don't
don't
do
take you to
white bread,
McDonald's
huh?
and we don't do white bread. We
Sorry about
occasionally
that.
have white bread. She's giving, if you could see her right now, she's giving us her puppy dog eyes, basically begging us to use white bread. I'm curious to see how many of you don't give your kids white bread. It's not, no judgment if you do, but we just don't have it in our house. So they really, really clearly want the things they don't want when it comes to white bread and McDonald's. Anything else, Veda, that you can think of that would be really good for people to, I don't know, get to know you better?
What's your favorite animal?
Oh, I like the big cats and the baby cats.
Yeah, so like a lion or like tigers or what? Like you like those?
There's a certain kind of animal you like to play and pretend to be a lot. What is that?
Cheetah.
Cheetah.
Oh
There
yeah,
you go.
the cheetahs.
And at school we're learning about lynxes. If they should be bring back to London, or they should be bring or not be bring back to the UK.
There were lynxes.
Interesting. I didn't
That's
know that.
interesting. I see.
You're learning about that in school? Wow.
Fascinating. There are so many things that you learn in school that we don't know anything about. Like what do you know about the Queen? Do you know things about the Queen?
No.
No. Do you remember anything about the first Queen Victoria? You like Queen Victoria a lot, don't you?
And I also have a dress.
You have a dress that looks like Queen Victoria?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Veda, can you tell us some of the things you've been feeling very confident recently, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
What are some of the things you've been doing since you've been feeling more confident?
Putting my hands up at school and also being a bit more braver of thunder.
Oh,
Yes,
very
you have been
good.
more
Yeah.
brave. So we do not get many thunderstorms here in
Yep.
London.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a thing. We were used to it from being from the Midwest in the States. However, Veda, since she was 2 when she moved here, is not used to it. And she doesn't like the lightning and she doesn't like the thunder. But she's right. The past couple of days, we've had we've had
very
thunderstorms
brave.
right in a row, and you've been very brave. There was something else I was thinking about too that we go to once a week, and you put a cap over your head. Do you know what I'm talking about? What is it? What was that?
Swimming lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Veda has been doing swimming lessons for a while, but all of a sudden she's super confident and diving down and just doing amazing things.
Yeah, you're like
On my
swimming.
own.
You're swimming all the way across the pool.
On my own.
On your own.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. It's been very fun to watch you be. All of a sudden, something just clicked with Veda, and she's feeling.
And you're
Confident.
reading like crazy right now.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Veda, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Veda.
We love you.
I also love you, Mommy and Daddy.
Aw, thanks.
Our second guest has arrived.
Number 2.
What is your name?
Jude.
Jude. Jude, how old are you?
10.
10. Wow, you sound
You-
so excited to be with us right now. So, Jude,
Yep.
we have some questions that people have been asking us about you guys. And one of them that we also asked your sister is that people want to know, like, how do you like to be creative? What are some things you like to do?
Well, I like to draw a lot, and I also like to read, but both of them kind of come hand in hand. Because the more you read books, like, the more you think of more ideas, and obviously, like, your range of ideas and creativity becomes much more extended, and then you can come up with basically anything you want.
That's so
That's
true.
awesome.
We did not feed him that line to say
Yeah.
either.
So, okay, so let's get down to your creativity. What are some things that you like to create first?
Well, I'm not the kind of person who likes to draw, like, human beings and kind of real things. I like to draw my own things that I come up with. Like, say I turned a mushroom into, like, a character, or, like, I made, like, maybe, like, a fish into a character, or, like, yeah, I may take things from, like, that exist in our world and create them into something else, or I'll just made something up, like maybe a monster with horns and like a body of armor and like with a sword or something like that.
That's
So-
amazing.
And Jude, since you were, I can't remember time that you haven't been drawing. As soon as you could pick up anything, you were drawing shapes and that kind of thing, or painting, or wanting to be that way. And then you went through a phase where you and your friends came up with a business. What were you selling?
Okay, that was funny. But basically, me and my friend, we like to draw, so we made these like he called them coloring books for people to color, and I just called them books with our drawings in. But we drew characters and we folded them up, and we actually started a business, and people did actually buy them. It was like £1. It was like £1 for one book. These are actually quite a couple pages. And my friend, he would like bring in a kit. He would like bring pencils. He would bring a stapler. He'd bring paper, and then we would sit down and like draw for like at break. And a lot of the times, actually, people crowded around.
That's
Yeah, do
awesome.
you think that drawing has been a good way to like connect with people?
I guess you could say that.
So we asked your sister some things about moving to London. You would have been. Do you remember how old you were when you moved here?
Maybe like 5.
You
Yeah,
were.
I could
You
say.
don't remember turning 6 here.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep,
that's true.
exactly. You turned 6 when we moved, shortly after we moved and everything like that. So do you remember anything being really difficult about moving to London from the States at that age? I don't know if you can remember.
I
that.
don't really remember anything. I was pretty young then.
You were.
Like, the only thing I actually remember is that birthday party.
Is that?
I don't really remember anything. But, like, I'm guessing, I don't remember, but I'm guessing I probably, like, would miss, obviously, the people that I was friends with in America when we moved here.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
true.
feel like you have more memories here than you do in the States?
I would say I would have more memories here because of the ages that I am here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
that makes
older
sense.
ages, which more you remember more of that than you do
Yeah, that's
really
so true.
younger ages.
That's true. So we have talked about some different things on the podcast already. One of them was how we connect with you guys, as like how we do family connections and things, unique things that we do. Can you think of anything that you really enjoy doing as a family, or maybe with mommy and daddy, or anything like that that you find that you really like?
So I obviously like drawing with Dad, like when we do the things where I draw a character and then he draws it in that style.
You
That's
don't
really
like
fun.
drawing with mom?
You know, you say yourself you're bad at drawing. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
bad at
pretty
drawing.
bad.
What I like to do with you is coloring and
Sure,
coloring
I do love
books.
coloring with you.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't even usually know what I'm drawing when I draw.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? But then, like, as a whole family, I like maybe, like, playing, like, building Lego, hanging out, like, watching a movie, playing, like, fun games together, like torch tag or, like, hide and seek or stuff like that.
We do a lot
That's
of
awesome.
stuff like that. Jude, you really like exploring too, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about that. What do you like to explore?
Well, it's nice to explore because you get to see things that you've never seen before. And maybe sometimes, maybe you'll find, like in the future, maybe you'll find something that no one's ever seen before if you become an adventurer and you go and find stuff. Maybe accidentally, but you still found something that would be really cool.
Yes, that's so true.
Yep.
So where are some of your favorite places that we've explored since we've been here?
Probably some of my favorite places we've gone is definitely Wales and like going up the
Mm.
mountains and exploring like the old ruins and stuff.
That was really
That was
fun.
fun. I think we started a game of it in the ruins, but then you
Yes,
guys
we
stopped
did.
it.
Of course we
Yeah,
did.
so we were to put some kind of around what he's talking about. Background, thank you. I couldn't think of the word. That we went to, I think the ruins were from 1200s or something like that, in the middle of nowhere in Wales, and we were
We
the
basically
only
had- yeah,
people
so we
there
had
for almost
stuff.
an hour.
And
No
then
one else showed up.
two.
And it
people
started
showed
snowing too, remember?
Oh yeah, you could see
It was
snow.
very
That was
magical.
cool.
Yes, and our kids
It wasn't
were,
like snow,
It
but
kind
it
of.
was like.
I remember
little
at the
things.
time too, like one of those newer Star Wars movies came out, and like the ruins made it feel like that's where they like found Luke Skywalker, and
Oh,
so
yes,
we
it
were
was.
like,
Oh, it does look like the area.
That was
it does
really
look like
cool.
the place.
Do you remember something funny that happened in Wales when we were in Wales?
No.
No, I'm not allowed to tell that story. Jude was very brave. Let me say
I
it
may-
this way.
I may have fallen in a river and got very soaked, but yes.
In the middle of February when it was pretty chilly too. He thought he would be able to make the same jump his older brother did. And we
Well,
had a
I
little
could
slip.
have, but his wellies were much bigger.
yeah.
Exactly. So, but you Well, you didn't handle it well at first, but then you handled it fine, and we continued the hike because we were about 40 minutes into a hike. So we said, you're going to have to go back
Yeah.
40 minutes or
Or
you're going to keep going.
Yep.
And you were.
And you did. You were a champ. You kept going.
Exactly. How about in London? We get a lot of questions. Unfortunately, in COVID times right now, people
Mm-hmm.
can't visit London. But we do have a lot of families that say, it's on our list. We really want to come. What kind of things do you think they should do with their kids? What do you think their kids would enjoy?
Ooh. A couple things, obviously the ones that you should do is like the museums. Like the Natural History and Science museums are probably the key ones that they
Yes.
would be most interested in.
Definitely.
But like the V&A and stuff, I feel like they're more like smaller museums. Like they're not as popular as a science and natural
With
history.
children.
Maybe yeah.
Yeah, with
kids.
children.
Yeah.
Because like the V&A is more like artwork and a lot of stuff. Sometimes I don't even understand what it is when they read.
But the V&A has a lot of the museums in London have backpacks, and you
Oh,
love that
I
stuff.
love
The
doing
V&A
that.
does have one of
That's
those. They're like adventure
the
backpacks.
I think that's what they do to draw more kids in there.
True.
Yeah.
The backpacks are
Definitely.
really fun because you get to explore. You get to go all the
You
way
look
around
for
the
things in
museum.
paintings. You look for things in objects. We didn't even know, and you find as a family new things too. Remember, we found Leonardo da Vinci's notebook in there.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
remember that?
I
And we
think
would have
I
never
remember.
found
And
that
he
if that
drew-
wasn't part of your adventure.
Didn't he
pack.
draw like and create backwards? And so if anyone ever found the sketchbook, that it wouldn't make sense.
Do you remember
You
that?
had to
What?
look at it. Remember, he had to look at his notebook, his sketchbook,
He
in the
writes
mirror
backwards.
because he wrote backwards because he was afraid that somebody would take
Oh.
his sketchbook.
How do you write backwards?
I know
like
that's
that?
pretty
Yeah.
fascinating. That he
That's
did
it. That's
isn't
talent.
it? Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. So yes, those are some of your favorite places. We've also taken you guys to some things that maybe were more adult driven. Like we've been to some art exhibits and stuff. And like we went to the Andy Warhol recently.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then
What
we went to that one that we walked through like 1,000 times. That was the Tate. Do you remember? And you
Remember,
walked through
and you
the
couldn't
smoky
see anything
room.
in front of you. And like we walked through that hallway, and
A
it was
fog-
like
filled with
filled
fog.
with fog, and it was just really a color.
Oh, the Keller one, and it kind of like you could kind of like taste like the smoke.
Yes, yes, it did
But
taste.
no,
you
yeah,
know,
no, it was an experience where you see colors, you taste smoke, but it's not like smoke, cough,
Yeah,
taste.
it
It
wasn't
like
like that.
taste. It actually kind of tasted nice. It like
It
tasted.
did.
It tasted. I don't know what it tastes like.
It's
but
really
it
hard to
tastes,
describe.
It like
It was fruity
tasted.
almost, kind
it
of
tastes.
slightly fruity.
Yeah.
Well, we watched him with that one with the artist. I'm gonna say his name wrong. I'm sure Oliver Elysium. I think. Is that correct?
I can't remember.
Anyways, there's
exactly
a
how-
there's a Netflix special on him called Abstract, I believe, and then it's a special about him. So we watched it before we went to the exhibit, so the kids could kind of understand the reasoning. So we even had a moment. I'm not sure if you remember this, Jude. There was a piece of artwork, and people would just come in and look at it, and it looked like it was just like lighting up the wall, and you were looking at a shadow. But because we had watched that documentary and seen that, we knew that every piece of his artwork he wants you to interact with. And so Jude and Zane figured out very quickly
how to
that they
interact.
were supposed to go in between the light and the object, and then it started doing such cool things on the wall, and it was so
Yeah.
cool. And adults were walking in and be like, how did they know how to do that? Because there was no signs that told you what to do, but you guys picked it up from knowing about the
Mhm.
artist that he wouldn't have just made something to look at, that he wanted you to interact with it. I
That
thought
was
that was
awesome.
really cool.
I
That
do
was
not
really
remember that at
You
all.
don't remember that? Your brother was
You were
like doing
probably
like
just-
dances.
You
and
were probably
stuff.
just like playing, and you really didn't realize what you were doing.
Yes.
That's fair.
So, what are some of your favorite things about living in a city?
Well, some of my favorite things. First, you get to meet a lot. I mean, a lot of people. Like other things that I really like about here. Obviously, there are so many museums, so many like cool parks, playgrounds. Basically, London basically has everything that you could really imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jude,
That's awesome.
there is another thing you like to do. So Jude is creative in all kinds of aspects. So Jude really, like, he just sees things different. He draws, he writes stories, everything. Are you going to do, what else are you going to add to that list?
Well, one of the things I do with my creativity, every day when we walk to school and back, I just use my imagination and basically go into my own world to like make it obviously fun instead of just being like, oh, I have to go to school and just walk. So I make it fun, and then school just usually ends up being pretty fun and then going super fast.
And you probably don't
That's awesome.
remember when we first moved here. We had to develop our children. Well, we did too, but had to
Yeah.
develop our children's city legs, is what we call them, because we do walk everywhere. And so when we first moved here, none of our children were good at walking, and they would crumble on the ground and say, I can't walk anymore, my
Yeah.
legs are going to fall off, and things like that. So we started to come up with tools to make it more fun so you wouldn't realize how much we were walking. And one of those for Jude was like, okay, let's come up with some games, and let's imagine there's creatures behind this tree, or there's this and that. And now he just does it on his own, and it's great that sometimes... I mean, we have walked 9 miles in one night before.
Yep.
We walked one night. Remember we went and saw that Luminary Festival? And we walked all over the city and saw the different things lit up. And you guys were on
The seesaw.
the seesaw. Remember the seesaw?
And I bounced, and because I was pretty short and Zane was pretty heavy, I went.
Yes, it was a seesaw that was all lit up, and it was so fun. But you also like to help in the kitchen sometimes, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love cooking and baking because you just get to make. You can make whatever you want with different recipes, say other people make, but it's just really nice because you get to taste different things from all over the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this has made Jude being our least picky eater in our house because he likes to learn how to make it and try things.
Yep. So, Jude, can you tell us then, if you like to make things, who are your favorite chefs that you like?
Well, some of my favorite chefs, one of them is probably a lot of people know, is Jamie Oliver.
Yeah.
Did I say
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Jamie Oliver. There's Mary Berry. I have one of her books that's all,
What does
all
Mary
about,
Berry
like, the,
cook? What does she do?
Well, a lot
What
of
is she-
desserts.
Yeah.
And stuff. I think I don't know. She probably does savory stuff, but I think her main thing
think
is
she does savory.
desserts.
Yeah.
And I have a couple like Great British Bake Off books, which are obviously from the Great British Bake Off like series, and it's all the people who did it and like their recipes and like other people's recipes, which is really cool to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jude loves to feed people. So if we're having people over, he loves to, he has just gotten into like menu creating and coming up with a menu of things that he would like to feed people. And he just really likes the joy of it. And we love seeing that in you, Jude. It's awesome. I can't wait
That's
to
so
see what
cool.
you do with all your creative things. Is there anything else? We will have plenty of other opportunities for you to do this. But
Is there
is there anything
else?
else you're like, oh, I wish you would ask me this question? Or that you wanted to talk about?
It's okay if you don't have to.
Oh, actually, let's have a conversation. I know a conversation I want to have with you, Jude. We often run into difficulties with school stuff because mom and dad say things differently than you learn them. We spell things
Yes.
differently than you learn them. So let's go back and forth, and I would like you to tell me how you think you say something versus how we would say something. So, I would say leisure. You would say leisure.
Who says leisure? It's the lee part. It's not lee. Pleasure, not leisure.
What about the animal that has black and white stripes?
Zebra.
It's okay. Now, I do have to say that we agree with.
I think
on
we
this
agree
one.
with
We
it,
may
yeah.
have made the switch to zebra.
Yep.
We would say zebra in the United States.
Why would you say Z? Like, I feel like you're making all of these words like super high. You're like zebra.
Well,
It's zebra.
so and the reason why we agree with zebra is because you don't say debra, you say
Exactly.
zebra. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with that one.
Yep.
Do you know how they say the stuff that you put over top food that is a silver color? What do they call that here? That is to keep the food warm. You know how they?
Tin foil?
Oh well,
Well,
yeah,
close.
close. What is the other word for it? Do you know?
We
the
would
other
say
word for it?
aluminum, and what would
And
you
they
say?
would say
I don't
aluminium.
actually know how to say it
Okay, I
properly.
didn't know if you knew.
That was that's convenient. We were actually doing something with that today. We were like, it was like some sort of like thing about like, can you like? It was kind of like a quiz about certain things about like, can you recycle this and blah blah.
Oh, and aluminium.
Oh,
was
that's
It's
one
like
of those things.
aluminium cans. And I was like, how do you say that properly?
I'm trying to think of some other words, Jude, that you make fun of that mommy and daddy say it, and then you guys correct me. What we embarrassed you for a long time when we first moved here, and we would say you have something on your pants, and you would say Mom, because that means underwear here. So that was always embarrassing. We're supposed to say
Of
trousers.
course.
Who says trousers? Like,
Well, we say you.
Why?
We say
You say trousers.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
like-
wouldn't say pants, would you?
No, but like, it's underwear and pants. Like, why is pants underwear? Just like
I know.
doesn't make
Sometimes
sense.
it is confusing here, isn't it? It can
Like,
be
why
very
would you call it
confusing.
that?
Exactly. Something that you just said reminded me that maybe will be more of a conversation, but you also, not only are you creative, but you also have a very big care for something in the world that you really makes you angry. What would that be, Jude?
Well, I love the ocean, and all of the pollution and stuff that is affecting it is very drastic and very sad.
Mm-hmm.
These all of the creatures that die and all of the ones that just eat it and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you have really, Jude, really also, well, you want to be lost. Can you tell them, this is how we will end. With that in mind and all the other creative things, there's something that you have a dream of doing one day.
Ooh, yeah, this is a good one.
Do you know what that is? It involves an underwater something.
Well, this is, you used to talk
You
about
used to
this
talk about
all
this
the time.
An
They-
underwater.
Oh, I
Do you
know
know-
what you're talking about.
Okay, tell us about it.
I think I know what they're talking about. I'm not completely sure, but I've always wanted. I think there's one in. I think it's
Norway or
Maybe
yeah,
Norway.
no, I'm pretty sure it's Norway because one of my friends told me it was like there because they've seen it before.
Oh, they actually. Okay,
No,
keep
that's-
talking.
not
tell-
like gone in it, but like
Okay.
they've seen
Yeah,
it.
so what is it?
So it's like it's kind of underwater because it's obviously part of it is above the water, so you can actually walk inside
Yeah,
of it.
that makes sense.
But it's underwater. Most of it's underwater, and it would be really cool to just have an underwater restaurant where you can just see all of the ocean, see the creatures, and maybe if you see the life under there and stuff, and see what it's like, maybe it could decrease pollution. Because if some people probably don't even know like anything about the ocean, but how beautiful it is and how crazy and what things we find there is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you would like to feed the people, but not anything from the ocean because you don't want to hurt the animals' feelings, right? And have artwork up, which is very cool too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so cool to see how you could put all of those things together.
Yeah, because you can get those like underwater sketch pads and like pencils that like work underwater because they do exist.
Yeah.
And then because as I get older, I'll probably be able to draw better as I practice, and the more I get better, and then I can draw creatures and stuff. Because one of my dreams is to become a marine biologist. I was thinking like while I'm diving and stuff, say I discover a new creature, I can like draw the creature. Like say I just see creatures in general, like coral reefs, I can draw on that, and it would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be very cool, Jude. We love your heart for nature. You have such a heart for nature. I mean, if we're walking in London, and especially if it's anything to do with the river and you see that people have polluted it, you get angry. You get very angry.
Yeah.
So.
You guys, a lot of the times you don't know like any of the proper names for some things. You're like, ooh, it's that like sparkly fish or something. It's like, I have the actual name for it.
It's true. You have studied up on your sea creatures and fish and such, and there was a whale stuck in the Thames, and I showed a picture and I said, I don't know what kind of whale it is, and Jude said right away, oh, I don't even remember what you said, what kind of whale it was, but he knew right away.
Started with like a B.
Yeah, he knew a bluefin whale or something like that. You knew what it was right away. Anyways,
But it had to be a baby whale.
sadly they had to put it down.
Yeah, because if it was an adult whale, even though like that, I know that type of whale doesn't get too big. If I remember correctly, that one doesn't get too big, but that one had to be a baby. Like the adults are definitely bigger than that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Well, Jude, it was a joy to have you on here.
Yeah.
Would you like to do it again sometime?
Definitely.
Should we ask people, like, let us know any questions you have for Jude, because we'll keep them, and then when we have him back, then we can ask him those questions. Would that be cool? Would you like to do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
maybe talk about creativity a little bit more and things like that.
Definitely.
Amazing.
Cool.
We love you, bud. Thanks
Love
for
you,
coming
Jude.
on here.
Thank you.
And now we have our third.
We have our third special guest.
He's not our final. He was actually the original.
He's the OG.
The alpha.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, is that what
Yes.
it's called? That's really cool.
Yeah.
Would you like to? Your name is,
My name is Zane.
and you are how old?
14.
You had to think about that for a second there.
Yes, I did.
So Zane, we have just been asking questions of your brother and your sister. We had some very funny replies. I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we get questions. One question we get a lot from people is they just are always interested. Sometimes, we'll post, I show you sometimes, we post on Instagram or something about our family creating together or those kind of things. And so with that, what are creative things that you like to do?
I like to make music. That's like a main thing. I'm drumming, piano, like I play piano, that kind of thing. I find that kind of thing entertaining, but I also like to draw with everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's another thing too that
Yeah.
I think you like to do as well is you write a lot as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've been writing more and everything. You've always actually liked to write. Now that
Yeah,
I think about it, that's
definitely.
always
Yeah.
kind of been something that you've liked to do. And with your music, do you remember when you started to like music?
I don't specifically remember, but I do remember the one time. Well, excuse me, not the one time, but just when you got the drum set for my birthday. Like, how old was I?
Do you remember that? So you were 3 when we got you that set.
Yeah.
You probably have seen the pictures and stuff. So we have
Yeah.
friends that were getting rid of an actual drum set. And we said, sure, they knew how much Zane, so just Zane has always tapped to the beat since we can remember. I can't remember him
Yeah.
ever not tapping something. And he would quickly pick up on a beat on the song and tap to it when he was really young.
Yeah,
And
and we had
so-
a friend too that was a drummer, and like
Yes.
Zane was obsessed with him and would always want to get on his drum kit and play and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
so these friends were getting rid of their drum kit and said, would you like it for Zane? And we thought, sure. We did not really think what we were getting into about a 3-year-old having a full drum kit.
Well, pow.
It was very loud. But you loved it and you adored it, and now it's one of the things
And
you do.
you play all the time. Yeah.
We have an
Yep.
electronic drum kit now because in London, to have a full drum kit, I think our neighbors would.
Just get
Absolutely.
a few complaints.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few.
they would. So Zane, you were the oldest when we moved to London.
Do you remember how old you were?
9?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah. So with that, you have a lot more memory of, and it was much more of a difficult move for you
Ooh, yeah.
compared to your brother and your sister.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was very weird, mostly just because I'd already established a lot of friends in the States, and it was an adjustment to move, definitely. Just culturally, I feel like with school was a very interesting move.
Yeah.
Especially my teachers just yelling at me for the random things that would be perfectly fine in the States.
True,
And-
they are
True.
stricter here.
Yeah. And of course with friends for a while, it wasn't great. I didn't really have
Yeah, it just
Either-
took you some time to make friends, right? It's just a little bit
it took
harder.
me some time to get the right friends. I
There
feel
you go.
like.
That's totally.
I had some of the wrong friends for a little bit that didn't really work for me.
Yeah,
but-
that's a great way to put it.
That is a really good way. To
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah.
That was really hard.
Yeah,
for you,
'cause-
though.
so
it was really
basically-
hard as your parents to
yeah.
watch that too.
And so Zane really is the only child that really has school experience both in the U.S. and
Yeah.
in England.
Mhm.
So
Yes, exactly.
so you have memories of both. So
And they're always asking me like, "What's at school?" They're like, "What was school like at in the States?" And I'm always like, "Oh, well, I mean, number one, I can't really compare it to secondary school because obviously it's a lot different." And I also always mention the blue milk.
Oh, yes. So,
That
so
is
a
really
fun
good.
fact about Zane is he has a food dye allergy, which we picked up on when he was fairly young, and we were able to figure it out. So that means any of the dyes in the United States cause you to get hives. They also cause all
Well,
kinds
it's not
of
It's not any dye, but
mainly red.
mainly red, and then
Sometimes
green
green
and
and
blue.
blue.
I think was the main
was
one.
causing
Yeah.
things too. So his school, which would never happen here in the UK, had blue. We went to have lunch with him, which also we don't get to do here in the UK. But we went to have lunch with him for his birthday one time, and then he came back with blue milk. We're like, you can't drink that. And why is the milk blue?
Yeah.
We were trying to get kids to drink more milk.
Like basically,
little
if you
weird.
pack
It
lunches
was like-
here,
It was like
It's-
it was like Indianapolis
Colts,
Colts themed,
yes.
and it
Yeah.
was like
Ah.
yeah.
Who wants to drink milk
yeah.
that's blue?
So basically, at lunches here, if you pack your lunch, if there's any kind of sweet or even like potato chips,
Yeah, that's
Or
Yeah, no, they'll crack
crisps,
down on it. It's
they would
not
take it
cool.
away from you, right?
Yeah.
because they think, and I agree with this. They think what you're eating
Yeah,
dictates how
expects-
you behave
yeah.
at school and stuff. And
Well, I mean, yeah, most scenarios.
I agree with that. So one of your joys when we moved here, though, was we tested out. They still have food dyes here, but they're made mainly from different things. They're still not great ones. There are some that aren't great and have numbers, but they're different than the United States. But there are a lot that are made from just like fruit and veg and stuff like that is how they dye the things. And so you got to have your first Starburst.
Yeah, that was like the main thing. Is just like I want to eat every single candy I have not eaten for how long?
Yep. For your whole life, basically.
See,
Yeah.
and I love that we don't have to deal with it here, but I also, well, and there are some things we just don't eat that often, but like the M&Ms, they have a fruity flavor here compared to the United
Well,
States.
I mean, I like it.
You do? Well,
Kind
yeah,
of.
I guess.
But
if
then,
you're
but
used
then,
to
But that's
but
all
then
you really
the
know,
problem
though, right?
the problem is then there's basically no difference between M&Ms and the other companies like Smarties, which is another thing here. It's not the Smarties like the fizzy candy that they
No,
have
no,
in the
no.
States.
Right,
It's
that's
the
it.
Smarties like it's basically M&Ms.
It is basically
Yeah, they're
M&Ms.
basically
I don't, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, no, it's just M&Ms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so Zane is in secondary school, which basically is middle school and high school put together. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, you don't have it. You don't,
You
remember.
don't know
You
what
don't
that
even know.
means, so.
'cause
No,
you
I don't
weren't-
know what that means.
It's okay. That's all right. So Zane, we have lots of discussions with you. I know you're only 14, but we have lots of like we've started having a lot more recently, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing we've been talking about is social media. You want to talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit? Okay.
Sure.
So to put, again, I think it's always good to say these things like, so Zane, because we live in a city, he
Mm.
goes to school on his own. He walks to school on his own. Sometimes if you guys have certain things going on, you like get on public transport. For instance, like you take the bus to go to your sports mornings and stuff like that. So because of that, when Zane entered into his secondary school, we
Mhm.
got him a phone. In the United States, we may not have gotten him a phone that early, but because he was going to be on his own in some of those contexts, that we got him a phone basically to be able to know where you were,
Yeah.
but also for you to communicate with us. So with that, though, we made Zane, we're such horrible parents, we made him sign a contract.
Oh boy.
Maybe we need to pull that out.
I think we might need to pull
and,
that out.
and review the
Mm,
parameters.
I don't
of
think
that
I'm not.
contract.
Is it still legally binding?
It is completely because we
Oh,
paid
yeah.
the cell phone, the
And
bill.
I do think your signature is on it, so
And you
it's
did
always
sign it.
legally binding.
Ah. Okay.
He's squirming right now.
Ah.
So we put some rules and some things in place that said, the phone is ours if you do these things. And so, but with that, one of the things we talked about is we just said, you're not doing social media yet. And at the time you said you were fine with that. But even now, as you've gotten a little bit older, we've been discussing it more. We've still said you're not doing social media. And
Well,
how do you feel about that?
I don't want to. I won't lie. I look at like data and things like that a lot, and just I think I certain things like Instagram and that kind of like Instagram and Facebook I don't want to do like that. I feel like those social medias are the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
Why do you
won't-
think
I
they're
won't
worse?
lie.
Why do you think they're worse? then?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of, I mean, the talk of like social media is, poisoning kids' brains because it's how everyone presents their best life and not the actual struggles. I feel like a lot of that comes from Instagram and Facebook.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and probably TikTok now too. And
Yeah,
maybe some of the other things that are out there.
yeah.
But we just watch. I should say. I mean, Pat and I are on things, and in our home, we do watch a lot of TikTok, and basically we watch puppies,
Yeah,
cats,
puppies and
artists,
people building things, and that's
And
basically
then more
it.
puppies.
So we don't
Yeah.
see some of the other stuff that's out there on TikTok. Yeah, lots of puppies, lots
Yeah.
of golden retrievers.
Now I find that Reddit as a social media
Oh, well, there we go. Yes.
Yeah. So how do we?
okay because we make funny memes about our life struggles instead of presenting it as completely fine. We try to make fun of that.
Who's we?
Who is we?
Yeah.
Just the community, bro. The community just likes to make fun of the bad aspects of life
Okay.
and that kind of thing. And that's why I think it's a bit better than some of the other social medias. I still think it's...
You have to be careful on it.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. And
But-
Well, and we've also we've chosen to watch like some things with you that actually when we watched them, we didn't know if they were going to steer you in the direction of what social media being good for you or not. But like we watched on Netflix, we watched The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
And then what was the one we watched recently?
Uncoded, I think it was.
Uncoded. is
No, it
about-
was,
or was it called something different?
Oh, no, it was totally something
It was all
different.
about
It was like
a-
facial recognition AI.
Yes, and how it can be discriminatory and doesn't, and that was fascinating. We watch it and then we have discussions with Zane about that stuff and just like, how do we feel about it? Because, I mean, Pat and I are on social media
Yeah.
and we do a lot of business stuff on there. How do we feel about it? How do we feel about it for Zane? How does, you having a sister, sometimes, especially with like Instagram and stuff, there's a lot higher numbers of how that affects girls versus boys.
Mhm.
And that kind of stuff. And so, we have those discussions with you because you are a young adult now, and we should. I really would encourage other parents too, because it really has opened up a lot of good discussions with us. You're still not going to be on.
No.
We just
There's enough Reddit rabbit trails to follow for you to keep you busy, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just yeah.
It's a decision, and again, it's no judgment against anyone who has made
Oh, yeah.
a choice for their teenagers to be on social media and stuff. We just made a really kind of hard line with that for now. It could change later.
And
but-
also it's my opinion. So
yeah, well,
Yeah,
you
oh,
happen to
yeah,
have the same
that's true.
opinion as us, which may not
Yeah.
happen with your brother and sister. They could be very different. They could fight us on it. They probably will because you're not all the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're definitely not the same.
So we asked your brother and sister some of their favorite things to do in London. What are some of your favorite things to do in London, the city we live in?
I think London is just a really cool place. And there is a lot to do. I feel like going to the Science Museum is definitely one of my favorites. Just I like to look at the world and evaluate how it works and that kind of thing. It's a bit annoying when you have siblings that are pushing you to the next exhibit because they are bored after you read like 3 words on the little like information like tablet.
So you're saying
But-
you want to go by yourself?
At some point, yes, that would be nice. But yeah, Science Museum definitely one of my favorites.
Do you have any favorite food places?
Food places. Well, I mean, okay,
Please
I'll...
don't say McDonald's.
Your sister
No,
said
no, no,
McDonald's.
no, no. I made this in. Okay, that's kind of funny. Well, we have the really good fish and chip shop
Oh,
that's
yes,
down
we do have a
the
great one by
road
us.
called Bailey's. That's just really nice. And I have never eaten the fish there because I like chicken nuggets.
Yes. I was going to say, when you said that, I was going to laugh and put in context the fact that, like, Zane actually doesn't eat the fish there.
Yeah.
He eats the chicken nuggets.
The chips and the chicken nuggets
or the
are...
chicken goujons.
Yes, the chicken goujons
Yes.
are absolutely amazing, but
Yeah.
I've not... Yeah, I
haven't
haven't...
tried the fish. Now
I mean,
I'm
I'm sure...
thinking.
I'm sure.
Your
Listen,
brother
I'm
has
sure
tried
if I tried the fish, I'm sure I would like it. But
Yes,
Yeah.
you would, but
Yeah.
you just are stuck on your chicken.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yes.
because that's how I eat. I like eating like that.
We were talking to your brother about the fact that he's the most exploratory in his eating, and you would probably be our biggest eater.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
I am.
just as real.
Zane would be happy with a jelly sandwich every day. But to be honest, I don't have much room to say
I was going to say he
because
gets that from me.
growing up for me, I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich every single day.
The sad thing is, Zane can't put the peanut butter on it because his brother is
Yes.
allergic to peanut butter.
It's
so.
annoying.
Oh, peanuts.
I want just so the one time we went to
Oh yes, I was going to just
Cool.
say. So yes,
Yeah.
So,
So one
we
fun
might have to do. What do you
Yeah.
like to do a podcast just about like how we really celebrated you coming into being a teenager.
Yeah.
So we chat about that. Sometime.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
totally do that.
But
Well,
go ahead and say what you're
yeah.
going to say.
And anyways, me and my dad went to pool for my 13th birthday just because I had become 13 and it was like a big thing for us. And because
For you.
Jude had
For us, it was like, oh no, we have a teenager.
yeah.
No, we were
And so we got there. We had traveled there by train, and we got to, I think it was a Sainsbury's, and Dad was just like, okay, we've got 2 days to just chill out. What do you want to eat?
Yeah.
And I was
I
just
let
like,
Zane pick everything he wanted.
yeah, it was just, we had this like absolutely massive bag of peanuts
Yeah.
that I was just like, we are having peanuts because I have not had them in like 5 years
Yeah.
because my little brother exists.
Exists.
Poor Jude.
Yes.
Poor Jude.
And yeah, it was really nice.
Yes, that was.
You enjoyed that? Was like the one thing when they called to check in. He was like, "We got peanuts."
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we we literally were eating them at breakfast, I think, too. Because we were just so excited to have peanuts.
The one, yeah.
And of course, me, paranoid. I was like, make sure you wash your hands before you get back on the train. That you don't bring any of that peanut stuff into this house.
Yeah.
So yes. Zane, I'm trying to figure out how to word this question. Now that we live in a place like London, you have some thoughts of where you would like to live later in life.
Ooh, yes. Mm.
Describe the reasoning of why you would like to live in these places and what you have decided.
I don't like warm weather. I don't like
At all.
Okay, I
At
can't
all.
wait. We have this on record.
Yes.
That you're
so
saying
if you
this.
if you move to Sydney, Australia one day,
So my prediction is you will live in the warmest place on earth.
I really don't think I will. I don't think I will.
completely disagree. Yeah, I don't like warm weather. It's hot. It is sticky. I do not prefer it whatsoever. I like cold weather. Because
Yeah.
you just, like, it's so much better just for, I mean, my introvert, like, self just says, because it's cold, you get to stay inside, and that is nice. Like, and I feel like, summer, and just warm times in general have such a pressure that you need to go outside, and you need to do a bunch of, like, just, you need to go outside, and you need to, I feel so weird, like, pulling this out of myself, but I just don't like warm weather.
So where do you want to live then? Because
I want to live in, somewhere like Finland or Norway, not just because it is cold, but also because statistics show that they have the best quality of life in the world.
He's right.
And that sounds very nice to me. And I wish we could move there sooner because they don't give homework.
Oh, you've done your research on
Yep.
their schooling as
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, if you decide to have children one day,
Yeah, well, thank you for that.
they'll
Yep.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
If that
They're
that's-
like, Dad, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to school today. I went to school in a pandemic.
Oh, you did that.
And I did homework. And I did all this other crap that you don't have to do anymore. Yeah.
So, Zane, with the pandemic,
Mm.
what have you learned this year?
A couple.
I'm not setting you
if
up
you
here.
wanna,
I'm
if
not
you wanna
setting you
be
up to six.
completely honest,
Of course.
a couple things.
And those are,
And
are
those
you going to
are?
share them? You don't have to share them if you don't want to.
Well,
One, you like to wear robes.
yes, I like to wear robes. That is the main thing. I look
Dressing
like
gown, you mean?
Or dressing
yes,
gown,
the dressing gown. I like to look like a 30-year-old man, according to my mother, by sitting with tea in a robe.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've learned a couple other things. Just mainly, I think a couple of the main things was do not lie to your mother about doing
Or
schoolwork.
your dad.
Or dad, or just don't lie in general about doing schoolwork because there will be big punishments. Okay, just some advice.
Because you will get caught.
Yeah. And I feel like it's just been. I feel like it's been kind of eye-opening for the amount of like the ability that technology has given us to stay connected in this time has been pretty cool to see. So. with like connecting with my friends with our like, Discord or WhatsApp and that kind of thing. And the fact that even though we are being pushed apart by this like massive global threat, we can still socialize and like deepen our friendships. And the same thing happens with, like our church youth club and other things like that.
Yeah.
It's just been pretty cool to
And I
see.
think that's what's
Even-
cool.
What's cool though too is like you say that, right? But you still really desire to be with your friends though.
Oh,
In
yeah,
person.
no,
I mean,
totally.
In person was
Totally.
like you realize how important that was to you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it was a little bit easier for you because you were introverted,
Yeah.
where
I mean,
some other of our family members, in particular one sibling in particular, is very extroverted, and so
Yeah.
often. But you've learned to communicate that. We
Yeah.
have learned in our house that Zane just needs to say, "I need some time on my own," and
Mhm.
sometimes he has to also give in to other things to help his brother, who's
Yeah.
the more extroverted one, to spend some time with him as well.
I like being with myself, and that is perfectly fine. And yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of the book that you read about?
I
Being
think it was
introverted.
called Quiet.
Yes, that's right. It
Yeah.
was called Quiet, and that was really helpful for
Yeah.
you.
It was a good read, actually.
Speaking of reading, you are an avid reader to the point that we
Yes.
have like
Speed reading.
Yeah, it's not. We've talked about this before on the podcast, but Zane and I read very similar books, and he reads them way faster than I do, and I don't like that.
Pat will start to read it. Zane will sneak up, grab his book, take it downstairs, and then bring it back and say, "Oh, I finished half of it," or "I finished the whole
Like
thing."
yeah, like one book in particular. I was like 2 chapters in,
Yeah,
and
was it
Zane's like,
Armada?
Can I borrow that?" And
Was
I was
it
like,
Armada, I think
"Well,
it
I'm
was.
reading it," and he's like, "Well, I'll just finish it tonight." I'm like, "That's not fair. You can't say that."
But what we love about Zane is he really likes to read all. I mean, you read all over the board. Actually, there's
Yeah.
yes, you like science fiction a lot. but
mainly science fiction is the main one.
you like history a lot too, though.
Well,
You devoured
it depends. Yeah.
history books for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, or like anything that makes you that makes you think a little bit and stuff like that, like Quiet or
Yeah.
History of the World or
Or
those kind of
the
things.
one, I think, Straight Up, I think it was.
Straight Up,
the one
yeah,
I like
and
to read.
Stamped
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
one that you've read recently that really made an impact.
Yeah, they're all good books.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody younger who might be like, ugh, I don't want to read books? Like, what would you, do you have advice on that? Or encouragement?
I think it's cool to read. It's cool to. I think it'll help you totally like further your imagination because I mean books aren't mainly just words on a page. It's a lot of like imagination, and you've got to like picture what's going on in your head and all that kind of thing. And I think that really helps develop your skills of imagination and your skills of creativity. And it'll also expand your vocab and knowledge. Some of the words I use in my English essays, I don't think I would know unless I read dumb science fiction books at 10.
Hey, they're not dumb.
No, they're not dumb. But
yeah.
I don't think I'd know some of the vocab I know unless I read books at like 10 p.m. But
yes, you do read a lot. At night.
I read a lot at night.
Oh, it's
That's
good.
great.
It's really good, and I think
It's better than being on my phone until
Exactly.
midnight compared to what
Don't
certain
talk about your
people
friends.
do.
Yeah, well, you aren't allowed to be on your phone at night because we have you locked out of it before.
Well,
then.
obviously,
Another strict
But-
contract rule
but
that we have. Poor Zane. It's rough, isn't it?
yeah,
It's rough.
it's rough.
So, any last words that you would like to say? We will definitely. So, what are some of you would like to talk about?
We can talk about your 13th
celebrating
birthday.
your 13th.
That'd
and
be
what
fun.
My
that meant to
13th
all of
birthday.
us.
Besides that, I'm not really sure.
That's okay.
That's okay,
So this
yeah.
is something we
So
said that
you got-
will anything you guys would like to hear about Zane or not. I mean, not it doesn't have to be about you, but maybe different things he's learned from living in a different country. Just his input on things. Zane has a really cool thinking on like how he sees science and faith tied in, and loves
Ooh, yeah,
talking about
that's a good
the
discussion,
topic
yeah.
he loves talking about and really
Mhm.
explores that and stuff. And that is a really cool thing. And we really encourage him in diving into that more and that kind of stuff too. So
Awesome.
Thanks for.
Thanks, Zane, for hanging out.
Do you have any
Yeah,
last
thanks
parting
for
words?
having me.
No.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, I talked over you.
No.
Do you have anything else to say? Last
Uh,
words? Do you have like a tagline that you say to your friends as you leave?
no. Remember to brush your teeth.
I'm sorry.
Stay in school, kids.
Time out. Did you just tell other people
No.
to remember to brush their teeth?
Yes.
I am going to take this recording and I'm going to replay it every night when I have
No.
to say that, and every morning
No.
when I say that to you. You
No.
have just done it.
I have doomed myself.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on. We will have you
Yeah.
again, Zane, where we can have maybe a more in-depth conversation about some of these things. But we love you.
Love you,
and
Zane.
We are
Yeah.
so proud of you, and you are doing amazing things.
Cool. See ya.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of the Laurent Collective podcast. If you enjoyed today's podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave a review, which helps others find our podcast. Continue the conversation with us over on Instagram at Laurent Collective.
We look forward to going deeper than just surface talk with you again next week.